who was Kyrie. And the thing that it was hilarious the last couple days out here in Vegas was Kyrie was out here, yes, but he was here to watch a Pistons game. And I'm talking to some of the Nets summer leaguers yesterday, and they're like, yeah, that's on him. He can do what he wants. We know he's there for us. But the whole situation is truly bizarre. The reality, though, is all signs still point to Kyrie ending up with the Lakers at some point. But Greeny, I've got to tell you, I'm sitting in Thomas and Mack last night. It was about an hour before that Laker game, and there's a rumor going around that Kyrie's going to show up with LeBron and sit courtside. That would be something, and the drama that surrounds that Laker team would be incredible. And after going through what the Nets did the last few months, I'm sure they're sitting back and saying, okay, Rob Pelinka, you want Kyrie, please just make it worth our while, and we'll make this happen at some point this summer.
It's just a remarkable set of circumstances. And I wanted to put Dominique in this conversation for a variety of reasons. A, you follow the league closely as so many other people do. And B, you also had a role at one time in the NBA PA, right, in a leadership capacity. So you kind of understand the inner workings of the way these deals work. And so, I mean, you've got these players kind of manipulating this situation. There's like 6 different people playing chess in all of this, and the players are very much among them. You got relationships like LeBron and Kyrie who couldn't play together. Now maybe they can. LeBron and Westbrook who wanted to play together. Now maybe they can't. Kevin Durant is sort of waiting on all of this. What do you make of the whole thing here, Neek?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the hardest thing to come up with is a way that LeBron can compete for a championship next year, which is all that anyone really cares about when it comes to assessing LeBron's legacy and anything that he means to this team. So even if they do pull off this Kyrie trade, I don't see that making them into a championship contender. They need a lot more things to go well, even with a big 3 of LeBron, AD, and Kyrie. But I would push back a little bit on Wendy's point. I guess it's not really pushing back. It's just trying to put a positive, lean on the way that we look at all this. Since Westbrook didn't set very many screens last year, maybe that is the key to opening him up. It's not that he wasn't able to. It's that all he needs to do is set screens, and then he'll start to hit a lot more open shots, maybe, and play better defense.
It feels like an unlikely connection, but I like the thought. Let me go back to that, though. Windy, let's live in a world where the Lakers do manage to turn Russell Westbrook into Kyrie Irving. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but that does seem to be where we are right now, right? They turn Russell Westbrook into Kyrie Irving, and you have Anthony Davis, and he stays healthy, and you've got LeBron. You put the right pieces around that, it is at minimum formidable, right? I understand that there are a million questions, but if the answers all somehow came back yes, that's at least something you have to consider, no?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know where they would finish in the regular season because I don't know how many games they're all going to play, quite frankly, at this point. They certainly didn't play that many games as a group last season, but in a 7-game series, 1st to 4, that group is really dangerous. And that is what I think is on the minds of the Lakers fans, and certainly LeBron James. I don't think that LeBron is like saying it's get me Kyrie Irving or else. I think LeBron is saying if you want us to have a chance, we have to upgrade this roster. With all due respect to Lonnie Walker IV, that's not the upgrade that he's talking about. And so I think LeBron's position on this is reasonable. No matter how Westbrook got there, the team that they had last year didn't function well. Darvin Ham is going to make the best of it. That's his job as coach. LeBron will make the best of it. That's his job as player. But the reality is we know that trio, even if Westbrook does revolutionize his game and sets some more screens, I'm not so sure that that's going to be a contender. Whereas with Kyrie, I can build you a case that they could do something, and I think that's the bottom line.
I mean, imagine him on the Nets now with Ben Simmons. You'd have an unwilling screener setting screens for an unwilling shooter. That's just the worst situation. But anyway, let's just finish this. Friedel, finish it with this thought. Yeah. You're there in Vegas. You're surrounded by literally every person in the league and every insider. Overall, is the expectation that when the dust settles on all of this, Kyrie will be a Laker?
Yes, but I'd add this caveat, Greeny. All the Nets people are sitting there looking around and they're saying, okay, LeBron, good luck, because we saw what happened in Cleveland. We saw what happened in Boston. We're seeing what's happening in Brooklyn right now. You are
on our roster. And until you're not on our roster, you're ours, and we're going to try to get better with the group that we have. That's just the bottom line of it. I don't know a player that's come through this league in my 26 years that hasn't had their name part of a trade rumor a time or two. But it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast of our business. Interesting. Well, when you look at this roster as it currently stands for the Los Angeles Lakers, not exactly blowing me away as I look up and down at this. We have to acknowledge the fact that, as it stands right now, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, they return. They will be combined making $129.5 million, which is the most amongst any trio in the NBA. So now we bring back Windy and Perk. And Windy, I have a question for you. We all saw what happened at Summer League. Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, both in the building at the same time. But what is LeBron James' thought process with all of these trade rumors surrounding Russell Westbrook?
So LeBron absolutely wants the Lakers to improve their roster. I think that's natural. You wouldn't be surprised in anybody saying that. LeBron is interested in the possibility of playing with Kyrie Irving. Now, it's not that he has an undying desire to play with them again, but he realizes there's a limited number of players the Lakers can acquire, and Kyrie is far and away the best one. But I have been told that it isn't that LeBron is absolutely shoving the Lakers into that trade. He knows, the team knows where he stands. He certainly wants the roster to improve so he can get better, but he is not banging on the door. He just wants the Lakers to have the best chance to win as possible. So I think the Lakers are aware of that. They were aware of that last winter when they didn't make a trade at the trade deadline, and they are aware of it now, and we'll see how it develops. And it is also worth pointing out that LeBron is extension eligible beginning on August 4th. And so if the Lakers have not done a significant trade between now and August 4th, that might be a factor in what LeBron thinks about, but you can't really be sure until we get there, so we'll see.
Oh, I love it when we get to the part of the summer where we start discussing LeBron James's relationship with his team, and we are officially there. Perk, Westbrook has been rumored with the Pacers, rumors in a deal with the Nets. How does he deal with that psychologically? With Darvin Ham saying he's on the team, he's on the roster, we need to fit him in, but it seems like he's being rumored to be moved.
Well, you have to realize this, right? Russell Westbrook is a former MVP. Russell Westbrook is, in my eyes, is a top 30 greatest player of all time. Russell Westbrook is also a very prideful individual. And although he may not come out and say it publicly, I know Russell Westbrook. He's emotional. This is bothering him. And to be honest with you, Jacoby, we're talking about how much the Lakers are looking to search probably to get Kyrie Irving and trade Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, the feelings is mutual. He's out there as well trying to get out of L.A. Why would you want to stay somewhere that you're not wanted? And I don't blame Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is not going to change his game for anybody. Russell Westbrook is a guy that needs the ball in his hands to be successful. He's not a guy that's going to be able to change this late in his career to play off the ball. And it's not a knock on Russ. All it is that he just don't fit alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's all it is.
Windy, when Darvin Ham had the press conference, he was talking about how he was going to run with this team, and this is going to be the big three. I was convinced that they were going to try to give it a go. However, Perk just said it is mutual, that they both sort of want to make this work, not with each other. Has Russell Westbrook already played his last game as a Laker?
Not necessarily. I think Russell Westbrook is willing to give it a try. Darvin Ham is willing to give it a try. Do we honestly think that it's going to work? No. I mean, one of the things that Darvin Ham talked about in his discussion yesterday on NBA TV was that he wants Russell Westbrook to be a screen setter. Well, I had our stats folks look it up. Russell Westbrook played 78 games last year. You want to guess how many screens he set in 78 games? He set 57 screens. Now look, that's maybe because the offense didn't call for it. I'm not saying he won't set a screen. He said he wants him to be a corner three-point shooter. Well, he was a 29% catch-and-shoot three-point shooter last year. Now, he did shoot okay in the corner. He shot 45% in the corner. So I'll bet Russ is working on setting screens. I'll bet he's in the gym working on those corner threes. But just because two sides want it to work doesn't mean that it will. But I do think that there is good faith between Darvin Ham and Russell Westbrook right now. Whether that means that he's going to be a Laker, that's a different conversation.
Perk, why you have that
quick,
face
so
on?
you mean so you're telling me that Darvin Ham basically want Russell Westbrook to be a small little PJ Tucker? That's what you're telling me right now. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen.
In a Westbrook-Curry deal, Wojnarowski said, "You'd have to incentivize them at a pretty high level." That unwillingness of the Lakers to incentivize with multiple picks is still part of the reason that hasn't gone anywhere yet. That could change. The Spurs are a natural fit to act as the facilitator in any high-stakes, blockbuster trade. They have preserved a league-most $35.6 million in salary cap space after claiming Isaiah Roby and his $1.9 million salary on waivers on Tuesday. In such a situation where Westbrook is traded to the Spurs, the conditions would be ideal for a swift buyout agreement to be reached. San Antonio wouldn't take on any future salary obligations and would add valuable future draft capital in the process. The Lakers have been reluctant to move any of their future first-round picks in other trade discussions. With the recent development of Irving becoming available and desiring a move to Los Angeles, they have a prime opportunity to make a big move. Time is running out for the Lakers to win another championship with James in the fold. While there are a lot of factors that would need to go right, such as focus and health, a trio with James, Irving, and Anthony Davis would certainly be a compelling set of skill sets. Nothing came to fruition as his market was virtually non-existent. The only team that has shown any real interest in acquiring him is the Los Angeles Lakers. That isn't overly surprising, as they need to add talent to the roster in any way possible, and LeBron James is pushing to team up with Irving once again. However, a swap between the Los Angeles Lakers and Brooklyn Nets is a very difficult one to navigate. If Los Angeles wants to acquire Irving, the deal almost certainly has to include Russell Westbrook. He is likely someone that Brooklyn doesn't have any interest in acquiring, especially with Ben Simmons already on the roster. In the NBA, if there is a will, there is a way.